Welcome to another day of evacuation.
Coming up, fighting flames.
Come on, keep pumping, get that fire out!
Fighting back the tears.
Dear Natalie, you are probably feeling very homesick.
And fighting talk.
Do you know why you've been brought down? Do you know why?
During the Second World War, city children were evacuated to the countryside to flee the bombing raids. Now we've sent a group of 21st century boys and girls back in time to live as the original evacuees did. Wartime Britain has been like landing in a foreign country for our modern city children. They've had to catch their own dinner.
I feel sorry for it because I'm going to eat him.
And dig their own air raid shelter.
Anybody got any blisters yet?
Yeah.
But worse than all of this are the lessons with the fearsome Miss Young.
Standing! Appalling. You have made me so angry this morning.
Unfortunately for our evacuees, Miss Young has something even more terrifying than maths or geography for today's class.
Miss Young has decided to broaden her curriculum and is about to introduce the evacuees to country dancing and her two best friends.
It's my very, very great pleasure to introduce to you this afternoon two very, very dear friends of mine. They have come from the local village to teach you country dancing. Mrs. Compson, Mrs. Noon.
Good afternoon.
How very good of you to come.
Well, it's a pleasure. So?
The 1940s country dance lesson kicks off with a maypole dance.
And it's very important to keep the ribbon taut.
This ancient spring dance is traditionally performed on May Day, with ribbons that link round the maypole. Today, our evacuees are practicing with rulers instead. The delicate steps of this folk dance aren't coming naturally to the boys.
Just look at my feet and remember when you do the step hop. It's step, hop, step, hop, step, hop.
Apparently, step, hop is not as easy as it sounds.
Step, hop. I think we need you in a line, not moving. We'll do it standing on the spot. Step, hop, step, hop, step, hop.
At last, one of the boys seems to have mastered it. Back home, Josh Apoku is a bit of a mover.
As a family, we do dancing competitions downstairs.
Watching all of us from a young age, seeing how we dance, that has encouraged him to dance as well.
Joshua has the moves. I think he will be a lady killer when he's a bit older.
The kind of dancing I do is body popping, and sometimes I just mess about dance and make up my own dances. And he thinks he's Michael Jackson sometimes, so some of the moves he comes out with is just hilarious, honestly.
10.
10. 10. 10.
Bow.
Josh may have cracked the country dancing, but Felix appears to have two left feet and no sense of direction. Whoa there, Felix, you're making me feel dizzy. Harry's managed to wangle a dance with land girl Miss Victoria and can't stop grinning. After hopping and skipping around the classroom, the evacuees compare notes over a nice bit of cake.
Oh, that was the best dance ever.
He loves Miss Victoria. He fancies Miss Victoria.
Yeah. Wherever she stands, I'll just stand in front of her or next to her. I don't think I'm very good at it, but still. I don't dance like that.
I think they were embarrassed.
Everybody was laughing because they had to hold hands with the girls.
I wouldn't mind. I was alright. I was not laughing.
I had that much fun. I can't stop smiling. That much fun. And the cake was just delicious.
Well, here comes Mr. Story, and he's an ARP, or Air Raid Precautions Warden, and he's here to make sure that Mr. and Mrs. Rivet and all of the evacuees know exactly what to do if there's an attack by the Germans. Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Mr. Story takes his job very seriously and won't stand for any nonsense from our evacuees.
Good afternoon, children. Muster up in front of here, please. Come on now, stop marking around. My name is Warden Story. My job is ARP.
Although the countryside was much safer than the city, there was always the chance that German planes could drop stray bombs, so the evacuees had to be prepared.
What is a precaution? Every single one of you is carrying a precaution. Tell me.
Gas masks.
Very good. You need to have your gas mask with you at all times.
The threat of a poison gas attack was a constant fear. If you didn't have your gas mask with you, you'd be in big trouble.
I forgot.
You are playing into the hands of Mr. Hitler. Stop smirking. How would you like to choke your own lungs up out of your throat? Would you like that?
No.
Would you like to have your eyes burnt out by mustard gas?
No.
Go and get your gas mask now. The local warning signal for an air raid is this. Upon hearing that sound, what would you do? Tell me.
Don't run, but go in quickly, orderly fashion to your shelter.
Absolutely right. One sound I hope you never hear for real is this. This is a rattle, as you can tell, and rattles warn of gas.
In case of a gas attack, the evacuees must know how to fit their masks correctly.
Then what we do is we stick our chins out like Tommy Trinder, like that. Can't help liking him. Go on, let me see your chins out. Right. Then you put your chins into the bucket of the gas mask and draw the straps over your head, like so. Very good.
They've been taught how to put them on, but could they do it under pressure in a timed drill?
Our evacuees have just 9 seconds to put their gas masks on, as an air raid could happen at any time or anywhere.
To do it.
Let's hope the evacuees do better than I did.
On the rattle. Not bad. If I was a gas cloud, I'd have killed you. If you don't look after your gas mask, it will not look after you.
It wasn't just the prospect of gas that terrified those on the home front. Firebombs were also a big risk.
This little rascal comes whistling down. Guess what he is going to do? You tell me.
Cause a fire.
He is. He does not go bang and blow up as such. He bursts into flames and he lands in your bedroom. It is down to you to put out the firebomb.
Warden Story has lit a bonfire so the evacuees can do a practice drill.
Your hose man, aim at the base of the fire.
They need to transport water from the river 200 metres away.
You got any strength left in you?
Yeah.
Come on.
Harry's the pump man and Felix is in charge of directing the hose.
Come on, keep pumping. Stop! Come on, keep pumping. Get that fire out. Come on.
If the house was firebombed, they'd have only a matter of minutes to save the farm. Any mistake could spell disaster. They all have to pull together to fight the flames.
Come on, keep pumping. Even stroke, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. You can make sandcastles out of that next week. Fire out, all clear. Trainee wardens, you have done right well this afternoon. Dismiss! Not bad, off you go.
The air raid man came in today with, you know, showing us how to, if a bomb comes. I don't think it will cost, you know, we are only kind of pretending, but you don't know really.
If like one of them fire things came down and bombed on top of us, I think we wouldn't have a chance.
But right now, Natalie and the other evacuees have more pressing fears. Mrs. Rivet has just dropped a bombshell of her own. She's invited an unwanted guest for dinner tonight.
Right, this is the worst thing ever. Miss Young's coming for tea, and hopefully she's not going to be as snobby as she usually is.
She's quite an important member of our society and very important in these children's lives, and I feel it's nice for us all to make an effort to welcome her into our home this evening.
Right, get this place tidied up. I'm going to introduce her in here to you. Whose gas mask is this? Pick it up! Miss Young would be horrified if she walked in here.
Mrs. Rivet wants the whole place shipshape, and Miss Young is due in less than an hour.
My chore is this plain room all by myself. Everyone just messes up and chuck things around, as you can see.
I usually help my mum around the house, but not as much as this. I think this is really a hard one because, like, you have to keep on bending down and it hurts your back.
How are you supposed to use this?
I don't know. Yeah, I think I know how to use Daddy, come in.
Richard and Felix could do with taking a leaf out of Chelsea's book and putting some effort in.
Sweep it right to the side.
Well, this is not very tidy, is it? Has it been swept up here?
Yeah.
Right, so why is there stuff all under the beds? Look at all that dust under that bed. Right, you do better next time. Okay?
Yes, Felix, we do have to do better.
Girls, I'm quite impressed. You've done quite a good job in here, much better than the boys. Right. Well, I must say, I am very pleased with the stairs. You have done an excellent job on those, Harry.
Thank you, Mr. Rivet.
Thank you. I'm really pleased. Good boy.
Harry's about to have the smile wiped off his face. Their teacher, Miss Young's arrival is imminent, and she'll be expecting impeccable table manners, something our city boys and girls have struggled with since day one.
Don't wave them about, put them on the plate, thank you.
Would you like to take your knife away from your face?
Hold your fork properly.
Sorry. We were really scared because Mrs. Rivet said we had to eat all we wanted or don't leave anything. She said it was rude to not clear your plate. I've heard that we've got sprouts and I don't like sprouts and we don't want to embarrass Mrs. Rivet by not eating anything.
This is the first time Miss Young has set foot in the farmhouse, and as always, she'll be keeping a beady eye out for any bad behaviour.
Good evening, Miss Rivet.
Come in.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'd like to show you into where the children have their sitting room.
Do sit down, everyone. Back to where you were. That's very good of you, Hall. Thank you. Am I going to enjoy dinner here?
Yes.
You're going to make sure of that?
Yes.
Does anyone know what's for dinner? Lau?
But we saw sprouts in the kitchen.
If it is sprouts, that's my favourite vegetable. That'll do very nicely.
Sprouts and Miss Young. Could it get any worse for our evacuees?
For the times, this is splendid. I feel very privileged being here.
Pleasure to have you. Some?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll begin.
Terrified, all the evacuees forced down their greens. Without complaint. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife.
Really delicious. How are you finding it, girls, this side?
Very nice.
Felix is the first one to let the side down and uses his fork like a spoon right under Miss Young's nose.
Please hold your fork the other way up.
But he's not the only one in trouble with his table manners. Mrs. Rivet is forced to help Chelsea before her lamb chop goes flying.
Hold your knife and your fork. Put your fork into the meat and use your knife to cut. Okay, there we are. Put your fork to your mouth.
Thank you, Mrs. Rivet.
You omitted to say?
Pardon?
You omitted to say to Mrs. Rivet?
Pardon?
What did you forget to say to Mrs. Rivet on completion of your meal?
Thank you, Mrs. Rivet.
The dinner was a total disaster this evening. I even had to have Miss Young reprimanding the children on their table manners. Felix, again, with his elbows all over the table, just scooping the food out with his fork and shoving it in his mouth.
I had to sit right next to her because I got in last. So she could see everything I was doing wrong.
Mrs. Rivet is determined that Chelsea and Felix will not get away with showing her up at dinner again.
OK, I brought you here because we're going to improve both of you, OK, at the table.
But she's got her work cut out. Since they arrived at Castle Farm, they've had difficulty even holding a knife and fork.
Felix, you're just shoveling it in like you're mucking out.
So Mrs. Rivet opts for the most basic piece of cutlery first, the spoon.
Take the spoon to your mouth and tip. Never sip it off. Good girl. Away from you. No, don't take your head to the food. Take the food to your head.
They're now ready to progress on to the next level, using a knife and fork.
If you'd like to pick up your mains, use the fork to hold, the knife to cut, push it on and in. Can you try Felix? No. Felix, just concentrate. I'm going to lose my temper with you. And don't be frightened of it. Put your fork in. You can cut it. Now you can use your napkin to wipe your mouth.
But Mrs. Rivet's lesson appears to have fallen on deaf ears.
I'm not a Lord, I'm not an Earl, I'm not a Grace. Why do I need table manners?
I don't think manners are really important because they're more important things in life than table manners.
If Felix was my child, I'd actually probably end up putting his face in his dinner. He makes me feel sick, the way he just actually leans over and pulls the food back out of his mouth. Some of it's half chewed if he doesn't like it. And in all honesty, I think he ought to eat out of a trough with a pig.
It's early evening, and the evacuees have been instructed to black out all the windows at Castle Farm. Air raids usually happened at night, so to make it difficult for the German bombers to find their targets, as well as windows, street lamps and car headlights were also blacked out, so no lights were visible from the sky. They must make sure they fit them absolutely perfectly, because even the tiniest chink of light could attract enemy aircraft.
OK, right, I think it's bedtime, girls. All right.
I think blackout in Britain would be very scary because every single light would be off and you wouldn't even know where you were. And all you would hear was planes coming over you and bombs going off and everything. And I just think it's all horrible.
The blackout boards are up, and with no city lights for miles around, it's absolutely pitch black out here. I just hope our evacuees aren't afraid of the dark, but I think they've had enough excitement to help them sleep well tonight. Ow.
Air raid wardens patrol the streets to make sure every house obeyed the blackout rules. Unfortunately for Mrs. Rivet and the evacuees, it seems their blackouts aren't up to Warden Story standards. Psych. He's unhappy that they're putting themselves in danger. Keeping the evacuees safe is Warden Story's top priority.
Good evening.
I'm sorry to trouble you. You are infringing every single blackout law going!
I'm terribly sorry.
Are you
What's the
signalling
problem?
to the enemy?
No, not at all. We've
Do you
put
want
all
to
the
appear before the
blackouts up.
magistrates in the morning?
No, certainly not.
Then I suggest you attend to your blackout. And attend to it now!
The children have put all the blackouts up. Come on in and have a look. They're all up.
Well, they're not effective. They are pouring light out across the fields.
Right, I'll get the children down.
Get them down now!
Girls! Girls, can you come downstairs, please, now?
It's a rude awakening, Dragged out of their beds, the evacuees, along with Mrs. Rivet, are forced to face the wrath of Warden Story.
Do you know why you've been brought down? Do you know why?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why?
Because there is light coming through the blackout, sir.
Is that what is meant to happen?
No, sir.
No, it is not! At the moment, you are signalling to enemy aircraft. This is the only house in the village that has failed to put up blast tape. Do you want to get killed by flying glass? Every single one of you. It's your responsibility. And remember, I might seem very angry, but you think what Mr. Hitler would do if he saw the lights pouring out from your house. Wouldn't be angry, would he? He'd be very pleased and he would drop a bomb on you.
I think he frightened the children. He frightens me.
He's screaming.
He was like a big ugly ogre. I liked him first time, he seemed to look nicer. No, just put that over there, and I was like...
It is really important, this blackout, so I can understand where he's coming from.
Because any bit of light can just give everybody away, the entire area away.
Yeah, and so it really needs to be careful and make sure that it is properly done.
Come on, you're not quick enough! When you hear the bell, you move.
After last night's surprise visit by the ARP warden, Mrs. Rivet is keen to get this place bomb-proof. If it wasn't taped, a bomb exploding nearby could shatter the glass. Luke's decided to tape the mirrors too, much to Natalie's horror.
You meant to do your mirror as well?
No, I can't do this. No, my baby. This is so... You're not supposed to do it.
Why do you worship a mirror?
Because it has a reflection.
And Natalie Hancock loves nothing more than staring at her own reflection.
When I grow up, I want to be a model because I like being a centre of attention.
Natalie's the right little poser, she can go away with it.
I like the makeup and the fashion, and I like my photo being taken.
She likes to go out and strut her stuff about.
I wouldn't say I'd know how to walk like a model. I need to be taught the catwalk probably because I really don't know much about that.
Where's this skeleton?
Our evacuees have been on the farm for just over a week and have had no contact with the outside world. They haven't been able to speak to, text or email their families, something they found extremely tough.
I can't wait to get home and see all my family and that, so I'm really missing them.
You don't realise it until you're actually away from them, that you miss them, you will miss them. I always go on to my sister say, oh, I hate you, but when it's down like these, you miss them.
During the war, telephones were only used in emergencies, so an evacuee's main contact with home was by post.
When they first arrived, the evacuees wrote postcards home. Today, the postman has delivered replies from their mums and dads.
We've got some letters for you. Read. So I'm going to call you out, OK? Harry.
The evacuees are obviously thrilled to receive news from home.
Natalie.
Joshua.
Right. Up, ready, steady, go.
Oh, Mummy, where are you? Where's the money?
But hearing news from home from their parents only serves to remind them of what they're missing.
Missing you loads. Oh, God bless. She's going to make me cry in a minute.
I am crying.
Uh-oh, the floodgates have opened. Once one starts crying, they all do.
Natalie, what did she say?
It says, dear Natalie, at this moment in time, love, you are probably feeling very homesick and down. Well, I just want you to know that I am the proudest mum in the world at the moment. As I know you can get through this, I think you are very brave and strong.
I think I better go in and try and cheer them up.
You all right, Luke? Come on round, mate. How are you, bud?
Alright.
Was that good? Was that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Missing them.
You're missing them, of course you are, mate. Of course you are. And how has it made you feel having a letter from home? Funny?
Yeah, I knew I was going to cry, but I didn't want to.
Next time, I can't get my phone. It's not bad to cry.
No.
Don't worry about it. Good lad. Good lad. How was your letter?
I'll tell you.
What's she written?
She goes, "Hi Harry, it's Mum, obviously. How is the food? Let's hope you come back with a bit of weight. And you are my still little handsome boy."
Ah.
Mum's sent me a letter, and she says she's missing me loads, and she's making me a bit upset because I miss home. Now I just feel really bad.
It's made me feel like I really want to go home, but I'm gonna stick it out.
After 1 week now, I'm like breaking down in tears. There's evacuees who had to spend years and years just away from their families, and knowing that when you wake up in the morning, it could have been that your parents are dead and bombed, and you're never going to see them again. It just makes me feel better, to be honest.
To lift the mood during dinner, Mr. and Mrs. Rivet have an announcement to make to the homesick evacuees.
What Mr. Rivet and I thought was, as you've been here now over a week, it's quite formal to call us Mr. and Mrs. Rivet, and we've got to know you really well.
Mum and Dad.
No! You've only got one mum and dad, and no one else can ever be that, Harry. But you can call me Auntie Sue, and you can call Mr. Rivet Uncle Brian, if that would be easier.
Auntie Sue. That's funny.
I'm sorry?
Uncle Brian, Auntie Sue. Hello, Auntie Sue.
The trouble is, you see that you all become rather part of the family now, haven't you?
I could be Mr. Rivet Jr.
It's no good having them keep calling us Mr. and Mrs. Rivet. It doesn't feel right anymore. When they first arrived, I rather wished they hadn't come at all. But now I'm afraid they're with us, and I really like them. They are very much part of the family.
Well, it's time for our evacuees to bail out after another day on the farm. We'll see you later.
Next time on Evacuation, wash day at Castle Farm. It all goes horribly wrong when Richard empties the potty.
One big step for mankind.
And Miss Young sets some hideous homework.
I look forward to it.
Oh no!
When the pressure's on and the clock is ticking, you know you're in the zone. CBBC's #1 game shows are in the Game Show Zone. Weekdays at 4:05, CBBC on BBC One. Let the games begin.